This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the dynamic Simracersworld GT series live on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by Apex Racing TV. We're here at Brands Hatch for round 7 of this championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me in the commentary box and on the cameras tonight is Marco Barbanian. Marco, we're back at a staple of this circuit. Every season this series comes here. And whilst it's been the championship finale for the past couple of seasons, it's still fantastic to be in and a round of great importance. Just a fantastic track, especially in these GT3 cars. Right, so he seems to have some issues with Marco's mic.
I should be back now. Yeah, I should be back now. I don't know.
Awesome.
The drivers updated on the microphone. Surprisingly, this microphone has updating drivers. But yes, I mean, how can we miss a track like this, especially considering that this season we are not doing Zolder, another one of the staples of the series. But Brands Hatch certainly is another one of those, and a track that Sam always brings out some close, chaotic racing. We have a boatload of cars tonight as well, and these drivers will have to make treasure of the experience I think they gained in the past couple of seasons running around here, and avoid the problems that, especially in the first couple of laps, due to the nature of this track and the big numbers, can and certainly tend to happen around here. But we'll see. Hopefully it's all clean and we enjoy a fantastic race on this most historic and I would say old school of racetracks here in the United Kingdom.
Yes, definitely. It's very much old school, this place. Hosted its last Grand Prix in late 70s, I believe, like 78, something like that. And I think James Hunt won round here, in fact. So yeah, a track that carries a lot of history. I mean, the fact that we're going back to Zandvoort is, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll be going back to Brands Hatch. Probably not when we got the British Grand Prix confirmed for a while. but I mean, it would not be out of the question. It would be fantastic to come back here. But in these GT3 cars, it's absolutely awesome. Of course, this place also hosted parts of the Blancpain GT series back when that was officially sanctioned by that championship on iRacing. And yeah, it was one of the original 5 or 6 tracks, I believe, in the first season. So it really does suit these cars and really does provide a different challenge. Difficult to overtake round here. And therefore, you got to approach it very differently. You can't just think maybe like a Monza, fall back and I can make up some places. This place, it's all about track position, and we're currently in qualifying. It's one of the most important qualifying sessions of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, going back to the F1, you know, op. Sadly, I remember, you know, the champ car that race here in 2003, I think it was, and or maybe even a bit later. And despite those being, you know, very, you know, single make series, it wasn't the best of races. So, you know, I've got big question marks on Zandvoort coming back to F1. But let's focus on this, and let's focus on this guy, Martin Plowman, of course, racing in British GT, if I am not mistaken, in GT4 category, and so I think he has a fair bit of an on-field advantage in this one, Sam. What do you think?
Yes, it will certainly be interesting to compare. And yeah, if there's any of that is useful for him. There's such a technical cycle. Of course, all the tracks on iRacing are laser scanned. So this is exactly what he would have felt, so I'm sure, in real life. And the physics aren't bad as well on iRacing. They're absolutely terrific. So no, it will be it could be a small advantage for him. I mean, in comparison to real life, this may be a walk in the park for him. He's always one of the front drivers in this series. I've got a couple of podiums, I believe, yet to win a race. That's all gone to Martin van Liesman so far. 6 out of 6 for him in the first half of the season. But certainly Palman doing a decent job in qualifying, currently sitting in 4th place just behind his teammates. Martin van Liesman leading the way currently in qualifying. Marvin Amont sitting in 10th place. Good to see him back. I believe he missed the last round at Nordschleife. Also got an interesting livery on that car as far as I'm looking at it. I may have the wrong paints on.
No,
but,
I have I have the same because I think he switched car in what was the you know, the week 4, you know, which is together with week 8, the week where you can switch your car. So I think that maybe he changed his car. He has no livery, sorry, as winter is coming in Italy as well. So I will quickly go through the series official files to see if there is something in regard to his livery. In the meantime, I wanted to say something. Oh yes, it's a, you know, technical communication. The cameras are okay.
Awesome. Okay. We're currently working through all the camera packs on Apex Racing TV, so you get awesome shots of all the various cars and whatnots. Makes the racing look even better. Oh yeah, I think I do remember showing it to you. So yeah, should be very good looking for all these cars today. Danny Crow's on the front row of the grids. Can he improve? No, that was an outlap. So he will go again. You can see the difficulty of traffic. One of the shorter rounds this season. It's not a mega short round. Of course, the Indy circuit, that would cause some problems. We've got over 40 drivers out here. I think it's just the narrowness of the circuit. It's difficult to get out of the way, especially when some of these corners, there's barely room for probably 3 cars alongside. Can be difficult to get out of the way of your rivals, especially as we go into the trees and this part of the lap. Dion Phillips currently sitting in 6th place. Rowan Monster in 5th. Zeb Herbert doing a very good job currently in 7th place. And always a driver looking around the top 10. PJ Clayton maybe a little bit further down in 10th place, and he'd like also Lewis Ward down in 13th. So there's a few drivers who'd like to improve. Kevin van der Slick, 2nd place in the championship a few rounds ago. Unfortunately, has missed the last couple of rounds, I believe. But he's in 16th place, so he really needs to pull out a good lap. But he's only 7/10 off the fastest time, which kind of shows how competitive this field is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it must be a little bit of a shock for these drivers, of course, switching sorry, switching from the Nordschleife to this. I mean, there's a lot of grass and trees, but basically I think we went from the longest to the shortest track of the calendar in the span of 1 week. And so the traffic, which was basically a non-issue last week, will be, I think, the major talking point tonight for these drivers, as I know I am beating a dead horse, but this guy, I want a good performance from him. Not that he has had bad performances, because he has shown the pace, but he has had some very, very rotten luck in the last couple of rounds, as we have a massive wreck for one of the Team GP cars there. In the first few rounds, he had the pace, including Media Day. I'm talking about David Fuller, of course, the defending bronze champion, now racing in silver. In the first few rounds, he was quick but made mistakes. In the last few rounds, he was involved in a lot of shenanigans, and a little bit dejected in the in-race chat, post-race chat with the other drivers, with us here on iRacing Esports Network, Sam. You know, David Fuller needs to recapture the magic of last season and have a clean race. Easier said than done, especially around here, and especially considering the pressure mounting on him. You know, I think especially on himself, by himself, the pressure he gives to him to have a good result. You know, because as far as post-championship winning seasons go, this is I don't know. Jacques Villeneuve 1998 style, but no, that was the car that was not competitive. You know, he's having you know, some very, very bad luck, David Fuller.
Yeah, definitely. In the first few rounds, it was mainly a few spins that he seemed to be getting 1 or 2 every single race. But you're absolutely right, the last couple of rounds. Certainly Nordschleife, I can't exactly remember what happened to him, but I think someone spun in front of him and he had absolutely nowhere to go. And I think, yeah, the round before that as well, taken out unfairly. So that silver championship, which he was really one of the favourites for, and the standard at the start of the season, quite far away now. By the way, in the championships, Mats van Nord, guess what? He's in the gold championship and the overall. 6 out of 6 for him so far. Chris Warner moves up to 2nd place in the championship, ahead of Matthias de Teach, and then it's Robin Monster and Kevin van der Slik. Van der Slik missing one of the rounds, and also struggled last week as well at Nordschleife. Bod Boland in 6th place, so very competitive gold category there. I mean, for 2nd place, there's 6 or 7 drivers who could claim that. In the silver category, we've got Ingmar Andersen leading the way, despite missing one of the rounds. And he's actually got a pretty healthy margin currently of 20 points, 194 to 172 points. So it's Ingmar Andersen at the head. Then it's Steve Clays. Then it's John McConville having a terrific season. Then it's Ronald Means and Jeremy Hessels, who's just dropped back. Also Nick Sherman's. So Hessels and Sherman's, 2 of the other favourites, really dropping back. So it just shows how unpredictable that silver class is. And then in the bronze category, we've got William Bush, another guy having a terrific season. He's leading the way after a terrific Nordschleife round, one of his best results ever in Simracersworld. Then it's Jais Mujdi, who's usually one of the front runners. It's lost a couple of wins so far this season, though, due to fuel issues. And Theisberg rounding out the top 3. We're over halfway through the season, so we can kind of start calling some of the championship. It starts to get a little bit more interesting, but certainly that silver and bronze category, Mark, all those drivers have had lots of issues so far this season. And I mean, if you can have 4 consecutive rounds where, for example, you don't spin, you don't get any major damage, I mean, you're going to really escalate up through the championship nicely, because that consistency is paramount, especially around the tracks that we've been visiting recently.
Yes, absolutely. And if you think about all the races we've had, I really cannot think about one race where either the bronze or the silver, or sometimes both of them, were decided in the last few minutes. So, of course, if you know, it's tough to win always in these categories, but if you can be consistent, you know all about being consistent, given that you won a very prestigious championship by being consistent.
We have to bring that up as much as possible. We don't bring it up
Absolutely.
enough.
Yes,
and of course, your consistency for winning Sebring 12 hours.
Well, my consistency in lapping 5 seconds slower than my teammate, but we kept the pro-am spirit of GT3 alive and well that night. So as Warner is in second, Cruz third, Metal fourth, and Plowman fifth. I wanted to make another point. Yes, I'm a bit concerned because we still haven't had any live signal from the stewards on the race overlay. So either they are too busy doing something else, or they are, still finishing their pizza.
Yeah, from last week, potentially. Could have got a big order. Of course, a fantastic life being a steward. Unless you're one of the F1 ones. I mean, it's pretty difficult, and you get a lot of hate for it. We won't delve too far into that, but I don't know what everyone's opinions were of the last couple of weekends. Ian Roots out there, 21st place. Now, he always struggles in qualifying. He's incredibly self-compressed. He's like, no, qualifying's not my thing. I mean, in previous seasons, I swear his qualifying's been pretty good. He usually qualifies consistently in the top 20, sometimes in the top 15. One of his better qualifying sessions today, 21st place, only 0.8 of a second off pole. I mean, it is remarkably close, I think. I don't know if it's just because we went to Northside for last time, and Martin van Liesveld got pole by like 3 seconds. But I swear this is one of the closest qualifying sessions we've ever witnessed. The top the top 40 cars separated by less than 2 seconds. I mean, it is mightily close out there. What can Roots do? A little bit of traffic earlier on for him, trying to get out of the way of that spinning car. And in fact, he's going to come into the pits. Watch out for that pit lane, because it's very easy to cut the pit entry line. And I'm sure anyone who's raced around here has got a penalty for cutting that line. Can be very difficult, and also it's a bit invisible as well. It's very difficult to see and not totally obvious, so could perhaps see some longer pit stops for drivers. Van Loosenord, well, if he can get into the 20s, this would be very impressive. 21 deads passes that for him. He does get into the 20s. So
Wow.
20.96 pole position by just over 1/10 of a second. So not a massive gap, but just that extra few percents that he needed to get pole.
Yeah, if you look at his intervals, seemed like a fairly pedestrian lap by standards, but in the final sector, I think he made the difference because he was not going, compared to his standards, super quick, as we have Scott Malcolm, which will start in P43, asking for a rule change on the fly, a reverse grid, straight from qualifying, which is, something that... if you said that in mid 2000s F1, they would probably have done it. You have to go. I still have my collection of old F1 magazines from the 2000s, and the crazy rules that they were proposing to break the boring, domination of Ferrari. And if you see the numbers of that Ferrari domination and you compare to the Mercedes domination, it's in comparison, the mid-2000s were a very, very competitive part of the history of F1. But enough of that, and enough of me being a grumpy old guy. Let's go through the grid.
I mean, maybe we'll have reverse grids. We're going to have a few of them next season. Yeah, could spice it up. Oh, unfortunately, you might be able to reverse grids straight from the grid on iRacing. Not quite sure with the heat function. But certainly something that the stewards should look towards next season. Martin van Liesveld then, on pole position by just over 1/10 of a second ahead of Chris Warner. Danny Kroes and Tom Methel line up on the second row of the grid. There's Martin Plowman, Matthias de Tiege, top BMW. Expect the BMWs to be pretty good round here. Robin Monster, Dion Phillips, Seb Herbert, good qualifying for him in the top 10, and Bod Bolin running up the top 10. Always a better race driver is Bod, so watch out for him in this one. Then it's PJ Claters, Marvin and Mont, another driver who should be strong in the race. Neil Cooper, Ruben Van Buell, a little bit further down, so expected him to be a little bit further up. So too Lewis Ward and Kevin van der Slick, and Ewan Marshall, so those four could be on a charge. Then it's Ben Thames, Chris Muretta, John Barnes, Jeremy Hessels, Ian Roots, Nick Shermans, Sam Bentham, top of the bronze dress, a really good qualifying for him. Then it's Ronald Moons, Anton Dupin, Dries Mujdi, David Fuller, Ben Llewellyn, Kevin Boland, Stephen Kastrup, William Bush, Roy Verkerk, Pim Bow, Steve Clays, Bram van Yultsven, Theisberg, Lee Woodburn, John McConville, Stu Musselwhite, James Hobden, Brian Walker, and Scott Malcolm. Two drivers who didn't set times were Rob Thiessen and Tyler Lugo Vickery.
So the stewards are here. Peter Grauls
Awesome.
is there together with his colleague, which is good. So waiting for their message on screen. They will keep us up to date with all the messages. As the pace car driver, as Marvin Amant started from the pits, by the way. Pace car driver a little bit unruly, putting his car sideways. And now we are running. I have no idea how 46 cars can fit into this straight. It makes it seem like it's a very long straight, which is completely the opposite, as you very well know. But there we go. Drivers running around the pace lap. People in the chat saying let's race. I agree with them. It's going to be... I mean, if it's the first time watching this series... Oh, there we go. It's Peter Graus and Craig Jones of BSR fame doing the... Oh, that's why Craig Jones was in the session a couple of weeks ago during practice and qualifying. Now we know.
All the pieces are coming together, clearly. Yes, so half a lap to go. Good to see that the stewards are here. So yeah, if you need to see, of course, we do have live stewards. So you might see on the bottom of your screen, drive through for whoever or a penalty to a driver. So keep an eye out on that. And of course, also if you need to see, it's 1 hour race and that's it. But it's very exciting because you've got all these GC3 cars. Everyone is competitive. And no, it's fantastic to see this championship evolve. 12 rounds, of course, this round 7 of the championship, and one of the toughest circuits undoubtedly on the calendar. Next week, I believe we are heading to Sebring, and then yeah, some fantastic rounds to finish off the season at Kota and Imola, Barcelona, and Silverstone. So this is certainly the final club circuit of the season. But, I mean, Van Loosenhoff from the pole position, certainly the favourite for this one, Marco. Do you think Warner's going to be able to keep up maybe in the early stages, and probably pit stop's going to be his best chance?
History tells no, but we shall see, because you never know what's going to happen. Van Loosenhoff, I don't want to jinx him, but he has had the perfect luck all season, so something, even in the greatest F1 seasons of all time, McLaren in 88, something, or 89 was it? Something went wrong. 88, yes. 89. Ah, whatever. Let's go racing as the cars are ready to go.
Van Loosenhoff puts his foot down just before the green flag comes out, and it's a terrific start for Red Match Racing because already Danny Crows has moved up a place, Warner down to 3rd. Also good start for Plowman and getting past Methil. Seemingly that odd side of the grid got a much better start, almost under pressure as Van Loosenhoff for his own teammate going into turn 1. Ben Thane's up 3 places, Van der Steek already up 3 places, watch out for him on this opening lap. Anyone else up places? Monster was up 2 places, but just loses one of them back. And good driving through turn 1 and turn 2 from the guys. Still quite a bit of side-by-side down the order. Can bow up a few places as well. Terrific start for Van Steek. He's made up another place, up 4 places already. Jai Mujdi maybe just getting shuffled down a little bit. Iceberg losing a couple of places after a good start. But Van Loosenhoff didn't need to gain any places. He's in the lead. Car number 1. He's 4/10 of a second ahead of his teammate.
So the dangerous point last season, the mess happened at the track that brings us to the long circuit, the left-hander. Everything went well, drivers learned their lesson, and now hopefully here for a long and enjoyable hour of racing as Chris Moretta drops a couple of spots, but then Ian Roots goes wide and gets passed by his teammate Nick Shermans. Let's see if Amans has taken to the track. He has. So also important to know, you must have read that on your screens, but there was a penalty for Rob Tyson. He couldn't qualify and had to start from the back of the pack.
Okay. So yeah, some penalty hanging over from driver last time round. Clayson's into the wall. He was in the top 15. He did hit the tyre wall, so he should be able to carry on without.
I think he's missing his bonnet. No, he's not. The car seems to be okay.
I mean, I don't know how much use it is at this point. It might be better if it was off. But he gets back going. hopefully not too much steering damage. As long as it was just square on with the car, he should be fine. And this is how it happened for him.
Yeah, let's see. Claesens, like you were saying, he was enjoying a very good start. It wasn't the hardest of it. Seemed like much more brutal live. So we shall see, as a scene we've seen many times. Van Loosenort pulling away and everyone behind him forming some sort of a train as Warner goes very wide and drops the spot to Martin Plowman.
So easy to do that round here. I mean, this track is, well, you can see the entire perimeter is grass, and just a tiny mistake, a little bit late on the brakes, trying to get a bit too ambitious on the corner apex, and it's really easy just to get dragged out by that grass and having to lift out of the throttle. So a change amongst those two teammates. Unfortunately for Tom Methel, couldn't take advantage of it. Robin Monster rounding out the top 6. You can see the drivers relatively evenly spread out. Not going to be a whole lot of overtaking today, but we could see some long trains with drivers getting a little bit frustrated. Now, these two teammates do close up a little bit, the Sim Sport drivers, and might see a change of position if they feel as though Warner is the better driver to lead. Here is Van Utsman. Going to lose a place to one of the Nomad drivers, makes contact with Pim Bao. I think that may have been Ryan Walker, was the driver who just spun back into the track.
That was a very good save. Let's see the replay from high above. There was a little bit of a congestion there of cars. Got a little bit of a hit there, Walker, but again, could have been worse. We are flirting with disaster. Hopefully disaster doesn't strike.
Walker,
it has.
Oh dear.
Oh man, there's a car flying 10 meters in the air, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Walker. He's got involved, and Mujdi as well. That's big for the championship. Mujdi was in 3rd place in the bronze standings.
See if we have a replay. I saw a car. Oh, look at that. That is... there is Mujdi, I think you are right. See if we can get a... Oh, mistake from Mujdi. Hard into the wall, back into the racing line. And... oh! Collected by Walker. And also his teammate then. Man, oh man.
So a couple of Dynamics drivers then falling down, and yeah, massive damage for those couple of guys. And like I said, Mujdi had half a chance at the bronze championship, but that's not going to help his chances whatsoever. And just another example of this tricky Brands Hatch circuit. Certainly on iRacing, there's no doubt the grass is slippery, and the drivers are learning that today.
Plowman dropping 2 spots after this mistake. That happened whilst we were on the replay. As another lap is in the books and another one starts. So battles all over the field, as you can see. And PJ Claesens on the comeback trail now, as he is now behind Musselwhite.
It's surprising how little time he's lost, actually, because he had to wait for the entire field to go past, then turn the car around 180 degrees. So pretty good that he's still in touch, and he should be able to catch up to some of those drivers who are perhaps squabbling with one another up the road. So just about a damage limitation for PJ at this point in his debut season, of course, in this series. Moretta and Thames quite close to one another. Thames got a terrific start. He gained 3 places straight away. But I think has lost all 3 of them. Jeremy Hessel's doing a good job. 247 car. Where it started 21st up into 16th, as Thames is going to lose another place. Is there perhaps a bit of damage on that car? Oh, sorry, that was Barnes going side by side. Apologies. And Dupan and yeah, Thames losing quite a few places down into 20th position now. Big trouble for him. Shermans will be next. 2 seconds slower than, or 3 seconds slower than the race leader on that last lap was Thames, so clearly picking up some damage earlier on.
Also have to apologize to our viewers because the driver updater set my drivers of my microphone, and so apparently I was screaming like an Italian commentator. So hopefully this has been solved.
We don't want that. Next up, you'll be supporting Ferrari. And we really can't be dealing with that. Speaking of Ferrari, Robin Monster getting ahead of Mateus Attij. What's that, just an overtake, or is he just defending against Attij? He is just defending at the moment. The BMW goes down the inside. That's one of the opportunistic moves you can make around this circuit. The entry to that corner massively opening up, and half a chance for him there with those terrific BMW brakes to perhaps get the move done. And a bit of a shame for a bit of a shame for Attij, because currently a Attij sandwich where we've got Rev Match Racing drivers as the Brett Neil Cooper gaining a place, or holding onto a place.
No, great move. Great move there. Not usually a place where you see passes. He was able to pull it off. So slippery. Not only the grass, but the racing surface as well around here. It's certainly, of course, not at the level of the Japanese tracks, which we all know and love. But it's still very, very tough to drive your car around this fantastic racetrack, as it's difficult to pick a spot. I can tell you that Chris Warner just had the fastest Sector 1 of the race. So he is really pushing hard. He needs to get by Danny Cruz, the real-life Lamborghini Super Trofeo driver, former TCR International and TCR Europe, if I'm not mistaken, competitor.
Yeah, you'll see up and down the field, if anyone's into kind of GT and sports car racing, a lot of familiar names in this field. And yeah, amazing to see them on the iRacing service. Really does just show how kind of realistic it is. And some of these drivers use it for training. Some of them just use it as a bit of a tool because they absolutely love racing so much that they just want to get a little bit more. And so to say, this was a bit cheaper than the racing they have to do in real life. And certainly the bills for crashing are not nearly as much. So yeah, great to see so many drivers out here. Marvin Amont trying to make some places up. He's down in 37th place. Didn't have he had a decent qualifying. I said he'd be on his way up, but had an issue right at the start of this event. And now he's really facing the issues of this Brands Hatch circuit. How difficult it is to overtake. There he goes down the inside. And there's lots of compliance there from Van Utsven as Monster has an off. He was running in 6th place.
Yeah, big off for Robin Monster there. Dropping several positions, is now down to 14th place. Let's see what happened. Contact with the Tige.
Yeah, Tige has lost out from that as well, lost 2 places. So that means that Van der Slick is now 10 places from his start up into 6th place, which is a remarkable effort, and catching up to the drivers ahead quite considerably as well. Now Tige is under pressure from the other BMW of Van Buell. He's up 5 places, so must just be in poor qualifying for him. Got a driver off the circuits.
Many drivers off the
Thiessen
circuit.
has had a spin, yeah. And then there's also the Smurf car.
Yeah, and also another car was there as well. Roy Verbeek was having some issues. Let's try to get to the, to the back of this crash and see what happened. I think. So here we go. There was quite a queue of cars. Obden, Verbeek, you see Van Uitven. Oh, someone spun in front of them. Verbeek, for solidarity, spun himself. But then at the front, on this back, Obden went wide.
Managed to square off the corner quite nicely, using the Indy circuit to his advantage. And didn't lose too much time. A few places, though, lost for him. Will be interesting to see if any of these drivers who have had issues so far in this race, and there are quite a few of them, will come in for an early pit stop, try to go for an undercut. The risk that you run there, though, is that you will probably be lapped around such a short circuit, with pit stops being decently long in these GT3 cars. You could potentially be lapped, and that loses you a lot of time, having to slow down for the faster drivers to get past. And with it being so bunched up at the front, it really could be very costly for you if you went for that strategy. So kind of when you really need a sponsor or some good equipment, SDK Gaming, which the live timing that we use, the overlay that you're currently watching, to provide that. So check out their website. By the way, that wasn't a deliberate promotion. Just happened.
Driver standards warning, sorry Sam, for Matthias de Tige. Contact, of course, with Robin Monster in the first corner a couple of laps ago. Stewards on the job tonight, very quickly. They must have finished their pizza super early. But yeah, of course, driver standard warning is just, if I can make a parallel with football, it's a yellow card. It's a black and white flag. By the way, I'm now a licensed esports race director, so respect, eh?
You know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Finally, I mean, it's about time to teach. Well, this is going to be a brave move. The BMW's a narrow car. It's not that narrow, though, to make it round there. Phillips having a better race. He was really strong at the start of the season. I remember he had a terrific qualifying at Spa, where he qualified in the top 5. And I think got spun on the very first corner. And I don't think he's quite lived up to that massive height. I think Montreal he also had a decent round. I think he's had decent rounds other than that. I don't think I'm doing him justice. But after a couple of not so great rounds at Nordschleife and Road Atlanta, it's him well inside the top 10 currently. Here comes the Tej again, though. Gambier will try to pick up any instance that happen ahead. Oh, this is a little bit deep from Phillips. He leaves himself vulnerable for turn 2, probably the best overtaking spot on the circuit. There was maybe half a chance for the inside move from the Simracersworld driver, but he chose not to go for it, just too acute an angle, and he'll have to wait a bit longer. That's losing them time all the while.
Marvin Amanza, in the meanwhile, getting past John McConville. He is trying to, climb up the field together with PJ Claesens, who just went past Bram van Oitven. Of course, different circumstances. The mistake from Claesens and technical issue for Amanza, forcing him to start from the pit lane. As we have a little bit of a mistake there from David Fuller. Let's see. Hopefully nothing major. Fuller in 7th position in his class, the silver class.
Yeah, currently leading the way in the silver category then is Jeremy Hessels. Saying how Hessels was further down the order in the championship than I thought he was. I think he's 4th or 5th at the moment in the championship, which is surprisingly low, considering that I think he's won maybe 1 or even 2 rounds this season. 2nd place in that category is Anton Dupin. He's had a terrific season. Some of these drivers, Marco, like Dupin and Danes as well, and Barnes as well, have absolutely raised their level. William Bush, another great example, last season towards the back of the field. And it's quite incredible how they've managed to really up their pace in every element of their driving, I'd say, to go up the field quite considerably.
This is what, makes a little bit of difference between those who are just here to participate, which is perfectly fine, and those who are, as Bolland goes in the grass there, right in front of us. There's some cone murdering there, to use the words of our colleague Austin Knight. And those drivers who go with the mindset of, I had a bad season, but I can gain experience from this. And if you asked me, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that William Bush would have had such massive improvement on his performances. As Warner, Warner got past Vettel finally in the first corner.
Yeah, so about time for Chris Warner. This is how it happens. Now up to 4th place. 3rd place is Warner. And making that move going into turn 1. So it's now Fury Simsport 3-5 instead saw Danny Craze occupying that second place with Van Liesnoord out in the lead by 4 seconds, just nudging that gap out lap after lap. He isn't a whole lot faster than the rest of the field, but it is just enough, as it proved to be in qualifying as well. Phillips still under big pressure from the Tej. Certainly to teach a driver, if he cannot make this move, you'd expect him to come into the pits quite early. And this part of the circuit, almost impossible to get past. But if you can stay within a couple of tenths of a second, you can have a decent chance into turn 1.
Absolutely, you absolutely can. But you have to be brave, of course. I would say the best passing opportunity should be into Druids. Sorry, into the Airpin, which is not Druids. No, it's,
I think
no,
it is
it's Druids.
Druids.
This is
Yeah,
Graham Hill Bend.
Paddock is turn 1, isn't it? And then Graham Hill Bend is turn 3.
Yes, okay.
And Druids turn 2.
Forget I said anything. The problem, my point was that sometimes when you are very close, as Plowman goes wide, when you are very close to your opponent and you want to make the move into the hairpin, as now Metal goes wide, you have to back off a little bit to avoid contact in turn 1, and you lose that distance that you would like to have a good run into the hairpin. So that's what makes overtaking a bit difficult, because let's be honest, that first corner is very wide, but there is only one line through there, and 2 cars, we saw an example a few laps ago there with the Tej and Monster. 2 cars in there are a very difficult fit, especially big GT cars like this one. So they are asking Jeremy Essels, and Jeremy Essels,
2.5 seconds.
yeah, 2.5 seconds over Chris Moretta. And as per usual, I will give our loyal viewers the link to the live timing in just a second.
Yes. All the info that you need with the intervals between each of the drivers. Last lap they set their best lap as well. I don't think there's any bonus points for best lap, but still, it's always nice to claim it. Van Liesnoord surprisingly not with the best lap so far. It's Chris Warner with a 21.8. I believe that is the fastest lap so far today, at least in the race. Van Liesnoord took pole position, of course, with a 20.9. Of course, we've also got to decide who our driver of the day is. If you've got any ideas who should be driver of the day, let us know in the chat, and we'll certainly consider it. We might even be peer pressured into taking it, not quite sure. But so far, it's usually been pretty simple to decide, to be honest. Last week it was Ryan Walker, who, as a bronze driver, managed to get a top 10 results, I believe, at Nordschleife. A terrific drive. And yeah, I think we've had so far 6 different winners of that competition. So let us know who you think deserves that accolade, and we might just make it.
Okay, so I saw notice of an overtake from Dupin, but that was Ian Ruth's connection being a bit naughty there. Dion Phillips under big pressure from the Tej. Tej cannot make the move. Good defending there on the inside from the rev match driver, and the Tej has to settle for now, remain in the 8th position.
Quite remarkable how they're keeping up with the drivers ahead at the moment. They've got Kevin van der Slik just ahead, who is up 10 places. And no doubt another contender for driving today. But Van der Slik failing to pull away from these guys despite having to go off the line for Phillips. Metal not too far up the road. I mean, they're within 10 seconds of the race lead at the moment. You really wonder, if it weren't for that mistake for the Tej, where he could have been in this race. Was running in the top 5, but a while away from that at the moment. A long way away from that is William Bush having an issue. And
Well,
or is this just a scheduled pit stop, perhaps?
Well, he's in. He came into the pits on his own, no tow, and I cannot find anything on the live timing, you know, that makes me think about a crash. And out he goes. And is that Van Loosenord? Yes. So he's 1 lap down, and he needs to, you know, back to what you were saying earlier, Sam. He needs to really push hard, because if he's not quick, and you know the problem is that he's got a lot of gold drivers behind him. Those blue flags will really slow down his proceedings and really hinder his chances of an undercut. Man, what is it with me tonight? Making these mistakes.
I mean, he should be. This could be a very good call. He was running, I believe, 3rd place out of the bronze drives. He was behind Bentham and Llewellyn. So Bentham qualified on pole. By the way, we've got Bentham, Llewellyn, Boland, and Kastrop and Bow all in a row for the bronze class lead. So a pretty cool battle this. It's fantastic to see so many of the classes together. And kind of shows, once again, how good the organisation is, that they've got these categories about perfect. This is what happened to Stephen Castro.
Yeah, Kastrop made the move, but I think outbroke himself, and that's what happened there. So the pack here is still very closely. Woodburn is in for his stop, and still this battle that is not ending between Phillips and Tige. As behind them also another battle that we have is between the Meraki driver Bob Boland and Neil Cooper for Fury Simsport. And very close here also Roots, Tupan, Thanes, Barnes and Schurman in this very long queue of cars. And of course the other battle we were talking about here. Steve Clay's not having his best round. I mean P29. He has been in a bit of a decline after his birthday, you know. I think that too much partying slowed him down just a bit.
Yes, maybe so. Although maybe he's listening to you, makes up a place. Could have been a bit orchestrated that, getting past Pinbao. He's having a good run at the moment. Didn't have a good race last time Pinbao visited here, to be honest. He accidentally spun and took out Martin van Liesnot. If that happens again, I mean, well, they should just get like a lottery ticket or something, because they will be due some good luck, undoubtedly. Stu Musselwhite, currently just behind Roy Verke, who gets past for Auto Mech after that spin for Verke, doing well to recover at the moment. Still within a minute of the race lead. Will try to stay within 1 lap of the race leader by the end of the race if they possibly can. Boland, so far, strangely not changing his position whatsoever. One of the only drivers in this entire thing. I think he is the only driver to be running where he started. Everyone else has shifted around a little bit. And here comes Neil Cooper trying to get the move. Cooper started in 13th place, but this battle just brewing. I don't know if there was maybe a mistake from Boland, but he's under big pressure now. It's a 26 car. They are 3 seconds behind Ruben Van Buel up the road.
Another driver who has had no position change, of course, is our race leader, as you can see on the left side of the screen right now. You know, that was a given. I don't blame you. Let's get a quick weather report while we are at it, with the track temperature being perfect for these guys. 18 degrees, and it hasn't changed since qualifying. Qualifying was also 18 degrees. Sorry, it's 32 degrees. Oh man, I'm really giving a terrible service tonight. 32 degrees, the track temperature. 18 is the air temperature, but you know, 32 still a very manageable temperature. 10 kilometers, 11 now per hour of wind. All in all, a perfect day for racing.
Yes, 18 degrees as well in the middle of May. Anyone from the UK? I think that's about right. Not too far, maybe a little bit warmer. Be a bit more generous, although it is only 10 past 10 in the morning. Oh, Boland has crashed on the pit entry. I was saying earlier on, watch out for the pit entry due to the pit entry line, but he's created a whole new problem for himself. Well, Boland, I don't know how that's happened, because these cars have ABS.
I think he wrecked in the corner.
Aha, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this is already too late. Maybe this. Because I saw tire marks much further behind the pit entry line. Oh, he clipped the grass. And that's very bad luck for him. And that is a big hit. To take some time to repair the damage.
I mean, he was lucky to avoid the pits kind of dividing all there. Although if he'd hit that with the side of the car, wouldn't necessarily have been too bad. But as we say, a while in the pits, and he's been there for nearly a minute. So Bod Burnham usually Mr. Consistent, making a small error, as we've seen a couple of drivers make an error around that final corner, and it has cost him very badly. Certainly if he'd managed to cover that and just come into the pits, I mean, that would have been iRacing Top 10 highlights. Do check out the iRacing Top 10 highlights. I believe it's on the iRacing.com YouTube channel. They post them there. And of course, if you haven't already, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network, because there is a lot more motorsports to come. I believe the Rallycross Championship is started, and I watched that a little bit, and it is terrific to watch, because I mean, it's like 5-minute races each time, as anyone who's watched Rallycross will know. And certainly a fantastic format, so and there's literally no gaps between the races whatsoever in the Simracersworld. So do check that out. That is like Saturday nights or something. Keep an eye out for it, no doubt. Chris Warner, now moving on to Danny Cruz. He got past Martin Plowman earlier on. Next up is Danny Cruz. They are 6 seconds off the lead. Warner seems to be the second fastest driver out here, Marco, but maybe he will use a pit strategy rather than an overtake to take this position potentially.
I think you're right, as we have a slowdown there, and also, sorry, I think Van Buell with big issues. Oh, he's missing completely the bonnet of his car. He was having such a good consistent race there at the front.
So is it going to be another clipping of the grass? It's certainly not on corner entry, but I think just on corner exit, spinning the car around into the wall.
How many crashes have we seen over the years in that particular corner? Because it's, I think, the highest speed corner of the track, if you consider at least the way you arrive there, pushing hard. You cannot wait to get to the end of the lap. And that damn grass there on the left side, which I absolutely love, of course. It's what makes this track very challenging, and there is no runoff area there. You go straight into the tire, into the Armco barrier there. David Fuller with a mistake. I think you know, if you have to make a mistake, at least you make one when your teammate can pass you. Clipping the grass on entrance, a bit wide. I think Sam Bentham went past his teammate there in the Mercedes, past the Audi. So, your leader, Martin van Loosenhoorn, in front of Danny Cruz, 6 seconds. And Danny Cruz has only, you know, a handful of tenths of a second over Chris Warner. In fourth, a little bit lonely, is Martin Plowman. Tom Mettrell rounds up the top 5. In the silver class, we have Jeremy Essels leading the way in front of Antoine Dupin. He's here. And Ben Taines is also here. Then we have Nick Schurmans and Ronald Moons. All together, basically, the top 4 in silver. Behind Moons, we have the bronze leader, Sam Bentham. And he is in front of Ben Llewellyn. Third place for Pimbo. Fourth spot in class for Kevin Bolland. And fifth is the guy who wanted the reverse grid, Scott Malcolm, who is enjoying a nice top 5 in his class. Another driver that is very consistent. We're talking in the week. Oh, Bobby Childs is here, the North American legendary MX-5, and not only that competitor, of course, one of the main stars of the various Rick Motec series that we show here on Apex Racing TV for those who cannot sleep and our North American viewers very late at night between Monday and Tuesday in Europe, and so nice to have him here watching this race.
Yes, Danny Cruz defending from Chris Warner, 2 tenths of a second across the line. Those two were. Monster into the pits. He's one of the first drivers to come into the pits. Wonder if we're going to see the Shepherd situation. where Van Liesnoord comes into the pits, and him and, sorry, everyone else, especially his teammates, follow in with him. I'm not sure if we're going to see that. Not sure if they're going to be sheep today. Not sure if there's some sheep nearby. There's no doubt there is. And unfortunately, sheep model for iRacing yet to be developed. But Crows, still running in second place, 6.5 seconds off the leader. And I mean, it is just 0.3 of a second pretty much every lap since the start of this race between Van Liesnoord and Crows. It's just edged out slowly and slowly. Difficult to tell how much Van Liesnoord is pushing. He just seems to never make any mistakes. I think he may have had a slowdown one time in the last few rounds, but I mean, Nordschleifer. Oh yeah, and he lost the lead, of course, didn't he? And I mean, took it back very quickly and won the race handily. On this lap, Van Liesnoord with a 22.0, Crows with a 22.3. So there, doing my points. 0.3 of a second every single lap. Oh, and Warner's just got past Crows just as we pulled away. I think Crows.
Mistake.
So Crows ran wide through turn 1, and this is happening. Looked to be okay on corner entry, or has he just carried too much speed? It's okay at this point.
Ooh, tank slapper. Very strange. That's very odd behavior from a GT3 car there, Sam. So a very lucky boy. Ah, you didn't have the replay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh dear. We have match not liking Paddock Bend at the moment. Paddock Hill Bend. Ben Thanes though, that car doesn't look too bad.
Oh, the same mistake. Wow. That's I would say you know, unique. I've never seen anything like that happen to the same two drivers of the same team in the same corner 30 seconds apart from each other.
It's as though they've just put like a bet on turning off their traction control out there, and it's spelled danger for them.
You know, a rev match specific banana Mario Kart style, you know?
Yes.
So crash between 315 and 234 will be reviewed after the race. So 234 is
Berg.
Yeah. And 315 is...
Oh, sorry, 315
is Berg. And 234 is... We have a 234 driver? Yes, it's John Barnes.
Yes. Right. Bit of a queue forming up now in, around here. This is Methril currently ahead of Van Slick, Phillips and Detige. Still Detige not getting ahead of Phillips. Phillips driving a very good defensive race. Doubt he'll put too much pressure on his teammate just ahead. But Methril is quite confident and quite comfortable early on in this event. Anything but now. This is Clayson's making his way up through the order. He's done a really good job actually as Clayson's. He was way at the back. Him and Amont have pretty much just been following each other through. They started on the same row of the grid as one another actually. And both had similar consequential incidents and have been moving through the traffic at a similar pace as well. But this is getting difficult for Clayson's with these drivers getting faster and faster.
Bad news for the Smurf car, I think. Seems of them with a big issue. That's his race. He has already towed back to the pits. And of course, during the replay, Clays went past Clayson's, as per usual.
Clays was already ahead.
Clays was already. You are right.
Also, I don't think we've seen those two race one another. Very similar surnames. I'm sure you've noticed. I mean, you don't have to be, a literature award winner to realise that. Oh, Clays runs wide, and Clayton's moves past. That's I don't know if that was a mistake or not. That seemed to be too good to be true almost for that sort. Yeah, Clays loses that down to 24th place, but still good points for Steve Clays in the championship. He's going to be the one who picks up the points all the way through the season, and it could yield him a title perhaps after fighting decently for last season. Of course, Stevie Bowles, I want to say, won it last season. Unfortunately, not around with us at the moment in this championship, but hope to see him back soon.
He was having a chat with us before the race in the in-race chat, so certainly still sticking around the league. Hopefully, it would be great to have him back as Warner laps a car. As you can see from the right side of your screen now, Kroos also lapping his teammate there. That was Kastrop. So losing a bit of time there, the drivers, of course, not easy to lap your opponents around here. Now Tom Metrol's turn to get past. Let's focus on Kastrop, because I think he will be in the middle of some, as Verwerk goes in from Peter 35, will be in the middle of some very, very crazy moments in the next couple of laps. As we are, I wanted to say that we reached the halfway point of the race, which is well past 10, entering as we speak in the final 20 minutes of the race. Don't forget tomorrow, is the TCR League on tomorrow night, or is it a week off? I never seem to remember.
No, another week. Yeah, next week as well, actually, and then a break week after that.
Okay,
and of course,
so
we also have the SMRC on Apex Racing TV.
It's a double
and
feature.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting double feature that we're going to have with the SMRC, the final round of the SMRC Championship. And I think and hope that Martin van Loosenord will be racing there. And as soon as that ends, basically, you jump out of there and into the stream for the TCR series here on the iRacing Esports Network. So if you miss, if you want your evening fix of racing, you are more than sorted tomorrow night, and also Saturday as well, because there's going to be the double header that we have, in alternating Saturdays with Euro V8s, and then as soon as the Euro V8s are over, it's the official Formula 3.5 here on Apex Racing TV as well. So I love these days where there are multiple streams, and the fans and the viewers seem to be very happy about that as well.
Yes, and we like it as well, because it means that we can do even more broadcasts, which is true. Certainly the UV8s will be awesome on Saturday, no doubt. Phillips, I mean, I'm sure the Tej could sketch the back of a Rev Match Racing Audi very well by this point. I'm sure he wouldn't like to, though. He's been reminded of it enough already. They're 11 seconds ahead, by the way, of Lewis World, a massive divide. Not quite sure how that's formed, to be honest, but clearly just different pace levels from these drivers. Ward, Marshall, and Herbert in 9th, 10th, and 11th. We haven't shown them too much as the Tej. Well, there was just about a BMW's car's width there, but I mean, it was very wise not to go for it. Now, even into the final corner, he's refusing to let Phillips off the cuff, and Phillips now comes into the pits, which could be a golden strategy for him, but it has allowed the Tej to really potentially take the overcuts, and maybe that's a sign that we're going to see the rest of the drivers in imminently.
Yeah, let's focus on the receiver, as Eberer is in as well. Moretta is in. The race leader, of course, doesn't get too much love from us. Of course, as we have the side-by-side action between Phillips, who has just come out of the pits, and Ronald Moons, and massively important for Phillips to complete the move. Moon's very, very nice driver, not forcing the issue, but now he's opening the door to his class rival, David Fuller. Fourth in class right now. Maybe, just maybe, having that good race. Jumping into third place right now, David Fuller. So the class podium is within reach, but still a long way to go. As the race leader goes by, and no, this time as well, the shepherd goes and the sheep have a mind of their own. Everyone
By
is
the way,
in.
I'd just like to point out that Ian Roots is currently running in 11th place, which is terrific. Ian, the 11th place Roots out there. The reason why he's called 11th place is because last season he finished 11th place pretty much every round. And with the point scoring system that we used then, that meant that you got no points whatsoever. So he pretty much spent half the season driving well, but getting no points. Chris Warner is first out of the pits. Has Nick Sherman's come in yet? No, he hasn't.
No?
So Warner top of those drivers, and then it's Crows. Metherall, Vanderslick, de Tige has got ahead of Phillips, crucially. So finally, that earlier pit stop for Phillips really didn't work. He's actually 2 seconds behind, had a slightly longer pit stop, and plenty of others coming into the pits as well. Marshall's out, Cooper and Hessel's, Amonts, Herber. Herber's had a little bit of a poor stop. He's down to 17th place now. Still a few more drivers to come into play.
So that is why they changed the rules as Van Loosener goes in. That's why they changed the rules for the class championships to get the points, no matter where you are, you know. Oh man. So all this talk about points, and now the 2 remaining lead cars are in. Of course, Van Loosener and Plowman. As we have an issue for Sebastian Herberer, a big issue, I have to say. I think his race is over. Oh, what happened there? That was Steve Clays. That was also Amans and Essels. Oh, touched by Steve Clays there. Maybe some suspension damage. That seems like a very, very crabbing vehicle, and that's all she wrote for him. You know, didn't seem like a very hard hit after all, but you know, this works as we have another train of cars coming in. Schurmans, Fuller, Marvin Amans, Bentham, Thanes, Clays, McConville, Malcolm. Everyone is in this very busy pit lane here in Brands Hatch. And after the pit cycle is over, and you will see the pit stop counter on the left side of your screen right now, we shall give you an update to, you know, because now it's that moment, Sam, where everyone you know, has done their pit stop, so you know that it's a push to the end. No questions asked, basically. The strategy is done. So Van Loosener is your leader, and he is in front of Chris Warner, 6 seconds. 1.7 seconds is Warner in front of Cruz, then Plowman and Metherall as Van der Slick. You know, 10 places gained. He has been stuck at 10 for quite a bit, but he looks to make it 11 as he's getting closer and closer to the back end of that Meraki car of Tom Metherall. In silver, it's still Jeremy Essels leading the way in front of Nick Schurmans, Anton Dupin, and then we have David Fuller is in 4th and Ron Moons in 5th. In the bronze category, Bentham is your leader in front of Ben Llewellyn. Then we have Kevin Bolland, Steven Castro, and still in 5th in his class, Scott Malcolm.
Yeah, I think Castro must have just got past Malcolm actually earlier on in this lap to gain a place. So positive for him at the minute. 355 versus 312. Plowman in 4th place. I think was the last driver to come into the pits, one of the few drivers to pit on lap 32. Of course, he's ahead of Methil. I believe he was ahead of Methil before the pit stops anyway. Not sure if he's going to be able to mount too much of pressure on Crow's 2.5 seconds up ahead. Castrop now fighting with Boland just ahead, and Malcolm just behind. So trying to keep up that momentum is Castrop. He was fighting pretty near the front of this order earlier on, almost kind of racing with the leader, certainly in the top 3 earlier on in this event. And he's trying to gain a place past the Nomad Sim Racing driver into the slipstream. He goes, it's difficult to make a move, but it is possible if you go around the outside. Got to carry lots of momentum, run the kind of rim of death potentially. Carrying the speed through is the Mercedes. The Ferrari runs a little bit wide, and maybe he was forced off a little bit there. Castrop, he's clearly not happy, flashing the lights, and he loses the place to Malcolm, who almost loses it, and some more as well, with a big slide through the right-hand lane.
Yes, so of course Castrop stopped on lap 17, so hopefully he can make it to the end of the race. Very close fighting in here, and Malcolm was saying earlier before, as per usual, I talked about something else with some talks last week about giving up his spot, switching to the TCR series as Van Oitman goes wide. I mean, Scott has two very good abilities. He's a very consistent driver, and he's very good at talking himself down, undervaluing his abilities. And he's showing tonight that he really belongs in this championship and having a fantastic drive. Podium is not that far away with Poland just in front of him. And of course, when you are consistent, you are, half of your job is already done, in my opinion. So, and that's why, of course, Scott brought home several amateur titles in BSR competition, thanks to being consistent, and he's doing the same tonight, not taking any stupid risk. So we shall see how this battle evolves. So let's go on board with Castrop for a bit.
Yeah, and just another word on Malcolm. I mean, Malcolm has improved significantly since we started out in the GT3. So he always did the GT3 championships on Sunday evenings from the BSR, and consider it compared to then, he has improved significantly, and to be pretty much midfield in a pretty good field as this is no mean feat. Certainly this a track that I think he's got a lot of experience around, helping him quite a bit. So that's Van Loosenord then trying to get past, and he just about edges past, but you could see how it was difficult. And Van Loosenord, like I was saying earlier on, came together with his teammate Pim Bao whilst lapping him in the Apex Racing League British GT Championship a couple of months ago. And any memories of that, he will hopefully be scratching out of his mind. That would not be a good position for him. But of course, in that situation, he had absolutely no control over it. And sometimes with traffic, that is the case. For Vertke, after that spin earlier on, trying to get past Castrop, this could be a decent result for Vertke if he can dispatch these 3 or 4 cars just ahead of him.
Contact between 213 and 42. Eberer and Clays. No further action. That's the call from race control, or as I like to call it, Mordor, the all-seeing guy. Oh, Cruz with a mistake, big mistake.
From the podium places, he's going to drop. Oh, that's a little bit of a dangerous rejoin as well, but I think that might be the least of his worries, because he seems to have a big damage on that car. Now, is it the exact same instant that we've already seen a couple of times today? Does he just dip a wheel onto the grass? He absolutely does.
Massive hit.
Loses control, and that is, as you say, Marco, a massive hit. The rear of the car, absolutely fine. I mean, the bent rear wing is, not too much of an issue. It's that front of the car. This is Chris Warner getting past it all. I'll say a different instant for Chris Warner. Oh, sorry, Warner was ahead of it. Apologies.
No, I wanted to see the crash from another perspective, and I apologize. this should be it, maybe. Oh, there we go, yeah. Big hit.
So now it looks as though Fury Simsport might get a 2-3, which would be a very good result. Their best result of the season, I think. Also, I'm getting really confused with these back markers. The fact that you got it, I mean, if all the rev match drivers were at the front of the field, it wouldn't be too much of an issue, but there are so many of them that they're absolutely scattered around. Farming there, getting past a back marker wasn't for position. Van Oitzven has just got past Malcolm, by the way, and the Vertke has just got past Malcolm as well, so... Well, maybe we shouldn't have applauded him. I think all this is to do with the traffic. It's really quite an issue. Not usually much of an issue. Around this, in this championship, as Castrop has had an off, and I think... No, he's okay. I thought he may have got disqualified. There are a few drivers on the limit of disqualification.
I think he has.
Oh, has he?
He's disappeared from my screen.
Danny Craze, by the way, back to the pits.
Clipped his teammate there. And then disqualification. That or he fell into a portal, you know, into a wormhole, never to be found again. Maybe we'll find him at next week racetrack already.
We do have a lots of them in the UK, particularly around racetracks. Gotta watch your stepping, no doubt. Tom Metherell, by the way, but the drivers are limited to 25 instants, otherwise you get disqualified. Metherell is on 20, so he's on the edge. A few other drivers are on the edge. Danny Croes was on 21, but he's back into the pits. I don't think I'll have to worry about that too much. Anton Dupin, who's second out of the silver drivers, he's got to watch it. If he gets a heavy contact, then that's him disqualified from this race and a lot of points lost. So expect him to be very cautious towards the end. Jeremy Hessels is on 20. Castrop was on 25, so he did get disqualified. It wasn't a wormhole. And Ben Llewellyn is on 20. I mean, even a couple more. I mean, it's so easy to get a couple of 4Xs and you go from safe to disqualified quickly. So this has been one of the higher incident point tracks of the season. Spa is usually pretty high, but this as well, certainly rivaling it. As more traffic tries to get past, it's difficult to keep up with all of it. This is Metherell catching up to Plowman, but... Oh, no, and then Warner's a little bit ahead, but there's a few back markers in the way. There's Malcolm.
Oh, man. He survived, apparently. It's the fight for 4th and 5th, and 3rd, of course, in bronze, with Bolland, Malcolm, and Bau. And in the midst of that, like you were saying, Plowman and Metherell.
Oh, and that's Plowman making contact. Is Plowman going to be okay? He just about gets through it, and so too does Metherell. Not sure how that happened. And Van der Sleek and De Tiege close behind as well. And Plowman, I mean, he was, pretty fortunate there.
Absolutely crazy, and this is not over. De Tiege and Van der Sleek side by side, entering the first corner. Nothing happening there. Careful of the lapped cars as well. As they're at the front, Metherell now needs to go past Malcolm. That was a scary moment for all parts involved, no matter where you are in the field. Overall podium, overall top 5, bronze top 5, silver class. De Tiege with another lunge on the inside. He has to be careful because Phillips is also lurking in the area. Tyson goes in the grass there. Here we go, De Tiege once again now on the outside. Has to be so careful there as finally Metherell gets past Scott Malcolm. Of course, tough to strike a balance between honoring the blue flags and fighting for your position in class.
Bold move from the rev match Ferrari there from Van der Sleek to get past Malcolm. De Tiege gets the cleanie as well. I mean, De Tiege, I think, is understandably getting a bit frustrated out there. I mean, his whole race has just been stuck in traffic. And if it weren't for that spin earlier on, it could have been a bit more of a successful evening for him. Still a top 6, no mean feat. Always Malcolm makes contact now with Phillips, who managed to just budge his way down the inside into turn 1. We're on to the final couple of laps. In fact, is the last lap? No, it's not, of course. We've got a couple more after this, depending on how quick Martin van Liesnold is.
So the pack is compressing once again here in the fight for the podium. You can see very, very big in the rear view mirrors of Martin Plowman is Tom Methrel. And there's a lapped car in between, and then you have Van der Slick and the Tige pushing hard. The lapped car is Kevin Bolland, third in bronze. This fight will go down the wire. Let's see there, Van der Slick, of course. The Nomad car doesn't want to lift in case you know, the bronze competitors come close to him. He has to do that. He's got a little bit of a buffer to Scott Malcolm, and so we march towards another lap. I think we have this one and one more, as Kevin Bolland has got an issue.
Was in 3rd place, I believe, out of the bronze drivers. Or is he just letting all the traffic past? I think he let
He lost a position to Malcolm, so
yeah.
something must have happened there. Oh, he clipped.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
I would love to tell you who he hit there, but I can only tell you it's a rev match car. Oh, and then more contact there at the front. Oh, Malcolm leaving dangerously with all this side-by-side contact at high speed. They all live to tell the tale again. That is with a good run, but there is no way past, I think, here, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get your car completely alongside on turn in, then you're okay. That BMW, though, it just doesn't have the straight line speed to really drag yourself alongside, and it's frustrating. Admittedly, around this circuit, it's probably the best car. It's incredibly nimble, incredibly narrow, but when you're trying to get overtakes done, as he not happening for him. Big shame for the Simracersworld driver. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Marco, as you said before, with one more lap, I believe, to go for these drivers.
Exactly.
There is
White
Van
flag is in
Liesnold.
the air.
He's been terrific, by the way, Van Liesnold, through the traffic. And we've also got to decide a driver of the day, which is going to be difficult to do. Get thinking, Marco. I'm putting it down to you today because I'm really struggling. And anyone on the chats, any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, I will tell you after the race is over. Let's focus on these fights here. Seems like Plowman and Van der Slick just need to hold on to bring home respectively 3rd and 5th position. Another battle here between Dupin and Schurman's fight for 2nd and 3rd in class, in the silver class. But let's first focus on these guys here. They will be the first to come home. Is looking on the inside, no way past, as final corner for Martin van Liesnold.
Yep, here he goes then. It's 7 out of 7 for Martin van Liesnold in the Simracersworld GT Championship. Absolute domination once again, 16.5 seconds ahead around a tricky circuit that is Brands Hatch. Is there going to be any change in the podium places in the silver category? As Chris Warner and Martin Plowman cross the line to round out the overall podium. Looks as though Hessels will take the win in the silver category in 11th place overall. Germans hanging on against Dupin. Leader of the bronze drivers is currently Sam Bentham. And he's just going to be behind these guys. So here comes Hessels. A little bit further down the championship than he'd like, but he's going to make some big points up today. A terrific 11th place overall, 1st place out of the silver dress for Jeremy Hessels. And Nick Shermans hangs on against Anton Dupin, who ran in 2nd for a while, but Sherman getting the upper hand. Bentham, I think this will be his first bronze class win for the season, and it was relatively comfortable in the end. Sam Bentham, car number 334, wins in the bronze class, 20th place overall. Good points for him. Llewellyn in second place, and Malcolm, I'm looking at
third.
he will finish third. So I don't. Yeah, so of course there was an issue for Boland, of course, and a couple of other issues. Llewellyn's coming into the pits, or has he? Oh, I think he's already crossed the line. Apologies.
This is what happened there. This was the big fight for third. 3 wide. Oh no! Absolutely unlucky there for the.
Bow and Thiessen, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that will be that for this race. And in just a second, we will give you the race results from Brands Hatch.
Yes, and it's Martin Van Liesnod. Then 16.5 seconds ahead of Chris Warner to take the race win. Martin Plowman rounding out the podium, just ahead of Tom Methel. Kevin Van Stake up 11 places. Good result for Kevin. He had a terrific start. Struggled to make much more progress than that, but still a very stable drive in his Ferrari. Matthias to teach, frustrating day for him. Spent a lot of time sitting behind other drivers. Maybe podium could have been his if it weren't for that. Dion Phillips in 7th place. Then it's Lewis Ward, good recovery from 15th on the grid. Good recovery as well for Ewan Marshall from 17th. There's Neil Cooper rounding out the top 10. Top of the silver drivers was Jeremy Hessel's 11th place overall. There was Robin Monster, Nick Shermans, Anton Dupin, David Fuller, Ian Roots, Ronald Moons, Chris Muretza, Ben Thanes, and Sam Bentham, top of the bronze drivers. Behind that is PJ Claysons, Marvin Amonts, Steve Clays, Ben Llewellyn, John McConville, Bram Van Utven, Roy Ververke, Scott Malcolm, Pim Bow, Rob Thiessen, Kevin Boland, Stu Musselwhite, Theisberg, William Bush, Ryan Walker was 3 laps down. 7 laps down were Danny Crows and Stephen Castrop, and then more than that were Seb Herbert, James Hobden, John Barnes, Ruben Van Buell, Bod Boland, Lee Woodburn, and Dries Moosty. A couple of big names in there. No doubt the championships getting shuffled around a lot, but as we expect it to be for the next 5 rounds or so until this 12-round season comes to an end. By the way, we'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in. Good viewing figures again. Clearly, you're enjoying this this series. So we are in the commentary box, and certainly do keep an eye out on the championship next time, next week, same time. Oh, by the way, Mark, it's time to announce who your driver of the day is.
Okay, the driver of the day should be on your screen right now. The announcement. Driver of the day is Martin Plowman for Fury Simsport. Again, I should add, the second time in 3 weeks he wins the award. So, congratulations. And I would have loved to have given the award to, Fury Simsport as a whole, but it's driver of the day, not team of the day, of course, no?
Yes,
but still,
exactly.
it was a very, very nice, showing, especially his defense in the final few laps. Not being able to make any single mistake to get on the podium was brilliant, and I think it's a deserved award, especially since I gave out to him. So, interviews.
Yes, and I think the first guy we'll have an interview with will be Martin Van Liesnod, because once again, he has topped the field today. Congratulations, Martin. 7 out of 7 now. Brands Hatch, I mean, quite a tricky circuit. In qualifying, it seemed very close, but you just had that extra 10th of a second. Have you got any idea, maybe the area of the circuit you had a bit of an advantage over others?
I think, hello guys, first of all. I think I had the advantage over, maybe through the quicker turns, or maybe the last section. I'm not sure, but it felt like it wasn't that quick coming out of corners, because it always seems like when I'm behind a Mercedes, it just blows away. But I think I can gain time on the Mercedes guys in the corners, so that's where I think I gained.
And in the race, I mean, we saw a lot of drivers kind of dipping a tyre onto the grass and being very much caught up by that. Of course, if you do that, very easy to head into the wall. Were you leaving much margin for error once you established a bit of a gap in today's race?
Yeah, maybe in the beginning to get in a good rhythm, but then yeah, you're just searching for the for all the edges, and yeah, that's what you do, I think, and then you basically hope for a good result and that you don't crash into the wall, and I think that happened again today, so that's a positive thing.
And near the end, the traffic looked mega difficult. You must have lapped probably about 15 cars, something like that. Certainly at least 10 cars, up to 15 cars. And it looks all very kind of tight and twisty out there. How did you find dealing with the traffic today around this very, very small circuit?
I think it's a really difficult track to overtake traffic, and especially when they're having a battle as well. So you need to keep in mind when you're getting involved with traffic who are battling with each other, you need to yeah, just be patient sometimes, I think, and yeah, that's what it is really. Just wait for them, or just make yourself visible in their mirrors that you're going to overtake them into turn two or one, for instance.
And in terms of, of course, in the Drivers' Championship, looking very strong at the moment, undoubtedly. But in the Teams Championship, what does today's result do for you guys? I forget who your teammates is.
Robin Monster is my teammate. He finished
Aha.
12th, I think, but he had over a minute optional repairs, so his car was pretty much yeah. It was I think just not ready for a meatball flag, but I think still finishing 12th and first, we would still be up there. Um, Maybe not top scorers, but I think we're doing still pretty good still.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season in that championship and, of course, the Drivers' Championship as well. Before we let you go, Martin, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Thank you guys for covering this series. Thank the sponsors, UGX Racing Simulators, RB Skillworks, and Uitert. Thank the team for putting the time in. See you guys later.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Martin, and best of luck at Sebring next time.
See you next time around. Bye.
So that was Rev Match Racing's Martin van Leesnod, the winner overall and in the gold category today. Margate, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Well, let's have a chat with our winner in the bronze class, of course. We will have a chat with Sam Bentham. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Well, congratulations, first of all, on your class victory. Tell us about your race.
Thanks. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Not what I expected when I bought the track 4 days ago, to say the least. I qualified quite well. Couldn't really string the lap together. I had another few tenths, but qualified, well enough and pull for bronze. And it's just a case of there's a few cars between you and P2 in bronze, so just try and keep the gap, try and be consistent. I dropped a few places over the first few laps, just running wide a little bit of rust. It's my first proper race for a while because I've been off with internet issues and all sorts. So then I had to be honest. After the first 15 minutes, I dropped a few places. I had a bit of a lonely race. 5 seconds in front of me, 5 seconds behind. I had an interesting one halfway through. Ben Thane's coming through. I think he spun it and ended up behind me, but had so much pace. So yeah, it was wasn't the most eventful, but I'll take eventful and uneventful and P1 any day of the week.
So, how has the season been for you so far? Because getting this good result, I think, can be the culmination of a series of races where you kept getting better and better. No.
Yeah, kind of. So I missed the first 3 races of the season. I moved to a new place and it took ages to sort out the internet, so I missed the first 3 races. Road Atlanta, I was leading the bronze class and got involved in an unfortunate. Basically, there's an unfortunate incident in front of me, and I saw it and slammed on the brake pedal, and the car behind me unfortunately didn't, and that ended my race. Nords. Let's not talk about Nords. Just on principle, to be honest. Well, I say principle. I'm just not very good there. So really, to be honest, I feel like my driving has been improving, but this is the first real result I've got to show for it. So I'm pretty happy.
And next week we will be racing in Sebring, of course, a classic of sports car racing. What are your thoughts about that racetrack?
It's my favorite track. I love that. I won there in bronze last year. Well, last season. So it's a track I know well, I'm confident at, and bring it on, I guess.
Awesome, Sam. That's why I didn't remember your previous victory, because I did not cover that race. Yeah. So, but I mean, apart from that, well, congratulations again. And before we let you go, any sponsor, any friend, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just a shout out to the rest of the Team GB sports guys. Literally, I would be absolutely nowhere without badgering them constantly about what line do I take through this corner, what gear are you taking this in, when are we practicing, these kinds of things. These things are 10 times easier when you have a group of people that are as enthusiastic as you are, willing to talk about things all the time. So I'd like to thank each and every one of them, to be honest, but especially the guys that are also in the league and helping every week. So
Thank you very much, Sam. Congratulations once again, and we shall catch you each other next week, hopefully.
yeah, thank you very much. Have a good night.
That was Sam Bentham, and Sam Fitzpatrick. I really, I didn't remember his previous win because I didn't cover that race last season in Sebring. But I can say that Sam has become already, I think, my favorite driver in the series now, because he loves Sebring, and big thumbs up, of course. Winning
And
at Sebring is never easy.
we like him for that, and also the 100 quid he gave us before this race as well. It's wonderful what money can do to people, and we are very corrupt. Next up, we will have an interview with Tom Metherell, who managed to finish in 4th place. Congratulations, Tom. It was quite an eventful race with you moving up to 2nd place, I believe, at one point, but in the end, 4th place. Still a lot of points. Must be a good feeling.
Yeah, I'm happy to finish, to be honest, because the last 3 races I finished at Monza, but I still managed to hit a barrier then. So a nice clean race, albeit finishing with 24 instant points. I'm happy to finish.
Yeah, definitely. Where did you get those instants from? Was it just all 1x's, or were there a couple of 4x's in there as well?
20 of them were off tracks, and then had a little bump from Kevin when we were trying to deal with the traffic. Not through Kevin's fault, it just all got a bit backed up and congested. But yeah, it was squeaky bum time for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. What about the pit stops? We saw a couple of drivers come in a bit early. Was that a temptation for you at all?
Not really. I always have the mentality of stay out as long as possible, because if you pit early, you're more than likely to come out behind someone that's slower, so you're going to get held up more in the long run. But yeah, I think it was pretty much as we went in the same we came out of the pit stops, so it was good racing at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And Sebring is next week. Are you happy to say goodbye to Brands Hatch? Do you think Sebring's a slightly better circuit, and what are your aims for that?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Brands at all, to be honest. I would have taken a top 10 at the start of the day, so 4th I'm over the moon with that. Sebring, maybe I could push for another top 5. That seems to be my sort of pace this season, is top 5. So if I can keep getting in and around that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and you're currently sitting in 7th place in the championship. Who's your teammate? So are you doing?
Bod.
Okay. So not a terrific round for Bod today, unfortunately, with that retirement. But so how are you guys doing in the team's championship?
Seeing as though I haven't finished the last 3 rounds, I don't imagine we're doing too well. I haven't really looked into it that much, to be honest, but I think if we can push for 3rd or 4th in the team championship, we'll be doing well. It's a bit tricky to try and match those Rev Match guys, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, best of luck for that, Tom. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, the guys at Meraki, as usual, good guys. Ian and rest of Simracersworld for organising it, and You and Marco for the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Tom, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, Sam.
So that was Tom Metal, 4th place driver today for Meraki Racing Team. Got a few more interviews, I think, or a couple more at least. Who do you fancy having a chat with, Marco?
Have a chat with Scott Malcolm, which should be with us in just a second. And here he is, of course, from a roller coaster of a week for Scott, because a few days ago he was asking if it was possible to give up his spot in the championship to move to the TCR series, and now on the 3rd step of the bronze podium. So Scott, I think maybe you are sticking around for a few more rounds, no?
Yeah, I think I will, after that.
So, how was your race? Because especially in the end, you were involved in some very chaotic stuff with the leaders coming through, and you and the other bronze guys fighting for position. So it must have been very hectic.
It was a wee bit hectic. We are fighting for positions, right? And you've then got the leaders coming up behind you, and they're immediately coming up behind you. They're flashing lights at you, but you're thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm fighting this guy in front of me. You know, have I got to like drop off to let you by? I think I'll lose like a couple of seconds on the guy in front of me. You know, I'm not getting on to the guys that are racing up front, but just give us slow guys a wee bit of respect. We'll let you guys through when it's safe to do so. It's not going to be straight away. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it must have been must be nice after last week Nordschleife, massive track, and but very narrow in a lot of places. This week Branzach. Next week finally we go back to a more normal racetrack in Sebring, a track where everyone has got loads of experience. What are your thoughts about the racetrack?
Next week at Sebring, that's like bumpy as hell, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't call that a normal
there's a
racetrack.
little, yeah, there's that little bit of the issue of the bumps, but it's very wide,
Yeah,
so I mean.
yeah, it's wide, but it's a little bit bumpy. This Brands Hatch is quite smooth compared to Sebring. But yeah, aye, it's going to be quite good around Sebring. I think these cars race it in real life. Is that right? So it should be alright. It should be good. Brands Hatch is quite narrow. It's quite hard to pass people on these kind of tracks. But Sebring, yeah, let's see what happens.
Well, Scott, thank you very much. Congratulations again on the podium. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, got to thank the team Mad Guys for letting me race livery in this series. You guys for um, doing the broadcast. And I've got to say thanks to Ian Roots for talking me out of not quitting this series. I wasn't going to quit it. I was just thinking about, moving over. But if it was over him, I don't think I would have got that 3rd place tonight.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you very much. Congratulations again, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, aye. Cheers, Marco.
And that was Scott Malcolm, 3rd place in bronze for Team Mad. And Sam, last but not least, I think we have the boss, the guy that rules all over the land of Simracersworld, Ian Roots.
Yes, absolutely. The highlights of the evening. And I mean, personally, my highlight was when you were running in 11th place, Ian. Brought back good memories. Unfortunately, it wasn't 11th place right at the end. 16th place. A better qualifying today, though. 22nd place. And I mean, I think you were like 7/10 off pole. You must have been really pleased with that.
I was really pleased with it, actually. Yeah. Evening, guys. By the way. Yeah. Qualifying went really well, but it is my home track, and I do tend to run well here anyway. I tried a different setup tonight for the first time in 5 seasons, and it didn't actually work at the end. Normally, I can keep a consistent pace from start to finish, but this time my lap times were dropping off by just over a second a lap in the last 20 minutes. So I was a bit gutted, to be honest, because I ended up losing out to Nick, Anton, and Dave Fuller at the end, just purely on pace. But yeah, no, it's still a good race, still a really, really good race. I was looking at the championship, and I'm sitting in a clear 13th overall. So I'm pretty pleased with that. It's been a good night, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at your point scoring for the entire season. By the way, according to this shot, you're 11th. Or maybe going into today's round,
I
you
was
were
going in,
11th.
yeah.
Yeah.
They've been updated. I'm 13th overall because the drop scores, we've added the drop scores now.
Ah,
So
right. Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I'm down to 13th, but I've scored 39, 31, 40, 32, 35, 33, 35. So been quite a good consistent season, really, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was the only person who's been more consistent than you is Martin Van Liesnord. But I mean, it's difficult to get the exact same results every single round as he has done. But
Yeah, it's incredible.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, hopefully someone can stop him with 5 rounds to go there. But I guess, how was the racecraft out there? And the first lap as well. It seemed like through the first few corners, it seemed okay, but then laps 2 and 3 seemed a bit hectic. Seemingly, drivers got quite aggressive. I don't know what your perspective on that was.
It wasn't too bad, to be honest. I had a really, really good start, which is not like me, and I managed to go round the outside of people at Paddock, and I managed to go round the outside of people at Druids, but I got tapped on the right rear by somebody I don't know. Without looking at the replay, I don't know who it was, but I ended up going around the entire length of Druids on full left-hand lock, and it's a right-handed corner. So, um, yeah, so that kind of lost me all the places that I gained, but I slotted back in where my qualifying position was, so I didn't physically lose any places, so to speak. But it seemed okay. It seemed okay for me. I think most of it was behind me, and those people that seem to be out of position do tend to, yeah, Brands is one of those places. If you don't make up the places in the first couple of laps, then you're stuck in the train and there's no way you're getting through. So perhaps that's what it was. There was quite a bit of chat going on, and some of it, yeah, a bit unsavoury. But I think people are getting a bit frustrated. But if you're out of position at Brands, you're going to have to expect to sit in the train or pit early and then try and jump them in the pit stop phase. But yeah, I think from my perspective, it went very well again. I had a good race. I think Anton tapped me in the back going into paddock on one lap, which seemed to rob me of a little bit of top speed. But I don't know whether that was just my setup and tyres in the end. I don't know. But no, it seemed pretty clean from what I saw. So yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, definitely. And just a word as well on kind of Simracersworld on a whole. Of course, the Thursday League has been going for a few weeks, but also the TCR League has now been going for a few weeks as well. And of course, the Enduro League coming up. How is the TCR thing going? I'm not sure how many rounds we've had so far, but has it all been quite positive so far?
Yeah, it's definitely been positive. I think they've had 4. I think they've had 4 rounds so far. Andy Hopley is doing a fantastic job, as you know. It's a name you'll recognise from the GT3 League. He's jumped ship and he's league director over there at TCR and doing an absolutely fantastic job. A pretty good turnout every week, and considering it's not broadcast as of yet, he seems to be doing very well with that, and there's a good turnout, and the racing's been pretty close. I've watched it live every week from the spectator point of view, and yeah, some really, really good battles going on. Snetterton last week, I think it was Snetterton. Yeah, it was really good. Got Monza this week. Monza short course, I believe. That's this week. So that's going really, really well. Enduro League, obviously, that's due to start in a few weeks as well. I've just got a very small matter of getting married in between, so lots lots going on in my life at the moment, as you can imagine.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to fit that in around the racing. Oh, what a pain.
Yeah, it's not been easy. It hasn't been easy, but we've managed to juggle it so far, and I have worked it so that I will only miss 2, which are my drop rounds. So
good.
So fingers crossed. Literally, I race, we get married, we go away, I come back, and then we race. So yeah, and obviously I've got the registration to sort out for the Endurance League as well. Literally the day after we come back, that opens for the public. So yes, busy times, very very busy times.
Yes, definitely. Best of luck for racing mainly, and also the wedding. And hopefully that doesn't go too bad either.
Yeah, you might see a few names missing off the list for that one of those weeks because they're all coming over to the UK to join me in the ceremony. So yeah,
Oh,
should be
awesome.
good. Yeah, so there might be a few names missing.
Well, I mean, hopefully you get your priorities right and decide not to go ahead with all of it, to be honest, because we need to see as many of you guys out here as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But no, it's not until I don't get married until the 2nd of November. So it's another 2 more weeks of racing yet. So yeah, we're still looking forward to Sebring, another track that I like. I like it a lot, but guess what? Over 3 previous seasons, I've never made it past the first corner. So fingers crossed for a better result for me next week.
Yes, absolutely. Before we let you go, Ian, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just everybody involved, obviously, behind the scenes. It's not just in this league either, but everybody that does all the hard work behind the scenes for the other leagues and in preparation for the Endurance League as well. It's just the team. The team are fantastic, and without those guys, I certainly wouldn't be able to be out of the country for 2 weeks, and it wouldn't run itself without those guys. So just thanks to the team. And just you guys, obviously, for doing the broadcast and supporting us week in, week out, like you have done for the last 18 months.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. Best of luck for next week. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers, guys.
So that was Ian Roots finishing in 16th place today for Simracersworld. That pretty much rounds us off for today, and rounds off Brands Hatch from the season. Marco, I think it's always a little bit of a disappointment, to be fair, when Brands goes, because I swear it's one of the most entertaining rounds every single season. It's such an extreme circuit with the with the tight corners and the narrow track. It's always one of the best races of the season, but I mean, some good races coming up as well, particularly Sebring next time out.
Absolutely. And of course, we told you about Euro V8s on Saturday and the Formula Renault 3.5. After that, always on Saturday. Sunday, the Aussie Mixed and Fixed are back. And if you miss oval racing, well, Friday at 20 GMT, the IndyCar Open Series is back from Las Vegas. So it's always an occasion when there's some oval racing being broadcasted here on Apex Racing TV. Friday night you will have your fix, and of course tomorrow another double header on Apex Racing TV. You will find the SMRC Championship, and after that on the iRacing Esports Network is the Apex Racing League TCR Championship. As per usual, plenty of stuff going on. I remember, Sam, a few last year we were a bit sad that on Fridays we didn't have a broadcast, and sometimes on Sundays we didn't have a broadcast, and now the all of the week is filled, plus some days we have 2 streams, even 3 going on with American stuff and Australian stuff. So it's beautiful, it's a lot of fun, and hopefully the guys at home are enjoying this as well.
Yes, definitely. It's been fantastic to cover all of it. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Also, subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network as well. And also the iRacing YouTube channel as well. And Apex Racing TV, of course. But for now, from me and from Marco, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.